Welcome back to Let's Play Mass Effect. We are back on the Normandy. We have woken up from our experience there on Eden Prime, and although we don't quite know what that beacon was trying to tell us, it looks like we came back without too many bruises or cuts or bullets, so good. The captain has told us to go find Joker so that we can tell him to bring us into the Citadel, which is a little goofy, but it does give us unlimited time here on the ship to explore and to chat up some people, so we're going to do that. Before we go, though, I want to peel back another layer with Daniel here real quick. We know the year is 2183. We know from the Codex that he was born in 2154. That makes him 28 or 29, depending on which side of his birthday we're on. We also know that he signed up with the Alliance the very first moment he could. That was his 18th birthday, so that would have been 2172. And the reason that he was so eager to sign up is that 2 years prior, when he was 16, he would have first seen vids coming out of an attack by Batarians on a colony named Mindoir, and he would have seen them scooping up humans to, to make them into slaves. And he would have been very deeply moved by this, and it would have set the stage in motion, in a sense. With the 2 years during which he would have learned as much as he could about Alliance, military doctrine, jargon, tactics, and of course about these Batarians. And so it was kind of driven by, initially his passion was driven by a hatred for a species that could do this, and he knew that they were targeting humans specifically for this. Now it turns out they were, they felt that the humans were moving in on their space and all this, but anyway, the Alliance would have been initiating campaigns against the slaving industry going on, and so no doubt Shepard would have been very interested in that particular feature. We don't know exactly what he was doing those first 4 years, but we do know that in 2176 he happened to be taking shore leave on a colony named Elysium, and that ended up being, looking back on it, as a just right place, right time. I mean, he had packed mostly shorts and Hawaiian shirts in his suitcase, but he was able to, he was prepared enough that he was able to, once this attack was underway, and knowing that it was Batarians behind it, well-financed Batarians at that he was still able to get the colonists motivated, protect your home campaign, no doubt. And in between the attack starting and when the major Alliance forces had finally come in over the hill there and finished the job, during that gap there, he was very much the one in charge. He basically stood alone to do this job that he wasn't expecting to do in the first place. And because he succeeded and nobody died, no colonist was lost there, he's earned the title of war hero. And it's not something he puts on a t-shirt. He remembers that there were bullets grazing past his head, and that a gun with slightly better accuracy, or an enemy that had spent fewer points in charm and more points in pistols, for example, could have just as easily turned him into a dead soldier as a war hero. So sometimes life is more about luck, or is as much about luck as it is about opportunity. And so he doesn't wear this on his sleeve very much, but he does understand that it has given him opportunities, and no doubt is a factor in why he is being, why he's being considered as a Spectre candidate. And he's a little bit worried about the fact that Nihilus is gone now. That means he's worried that that's going to jeopardize things, of course. So, but anyway, this is why that Shepard had such a kinship with Jenkins. Jenkins says to him, "I can't wait for the real action to start." That is exactly what Shepard was doing in 2170. Of course, Jenkins is a corporal at this point. He's not brand new in the Alliance, but and Shepard didn't really get to know him well enough to know what his passion was. It could be just a boyhood excitement, but still, he felt like it's like a younger kid brother to him. So he's still very saddened by his loss. Anyway, we should move on. I do notice that I'm not in my combat armor, and my guns are not with me. Which one of Ashley or Caden stripped me out of my armor and put me in my civvies? You know, which one had their hands on me? Daniel is actually neither bothered nor terribly excited by the prospect of either of them having done that. Let's just leave it at that for now. Alright, anytime you're here, always a good idea to top off a Metagel. I'm really sorry that they didn't make room for a separate grenade dispenser right there. That would have been pretty sweet.
Hey, Commander.
Hey, Ashley. Oh, you know what? I just remembered. We had a somewhat unpleasant start at the start of this, so we're going to have an unpleasant start here.
After what happened to Jenkins, the crew could use some good news. They'll be glad to hear you're okay.
Sounds like you're disappointed I survived.
I never want to see anything bad happen to a fellow Marine, Commander. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, those 2 renegade points you get on Eden Prime are pretty sweet, but you always have to go through that.
I think we got off on the wrong foot, Williams. Maybe we could start again.
I'm not one to hold a grudge. I think we're all looking to put Eden Prime behind us.
Things were pretty rough down there. Are you okay?
I've seen friends die before. Comes with being a Marine. But to see my whole unit wiped out, and you never get used to seeing dead civilians. But things would have been a lot worse if you hadn't shown up.
Dead Marines, dead colonists, and in the end, we still didn't get that beacon.
You saved a lot of lives, Commander. It might be hard to keep that in perspective with what happened to Jenkins.
Thanks, Williams. I needed to hear that. I think you're gonna fit in here just fine.
Thanks, Commander.
I love that we zoom in on her eyes there while we're saying that she's going to fit in just fine. Alright, this will be the one time that Dr. Chakwas will not be in her office. That's because Captain Anderson had asked her to step out so he could have a private chat with me. I guess she stays out here till we move off. Anyway, hello, Ms. Chakwas.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
It is actually a really good idea to have this chat with her right now, because one of these 3 options over here is going to disappear if you wait until after the Citadel.
How did you end up serving on an Alliance ship?
I enlisted right out of med school. Earth always seemed boring to me. Too safe, too secure. I figured the colonies were teeming with exotic adventure. I wanted to travel the stars, tending the wounds of tough soldiers with piercing eyes and sensitive souls. Turns out military life isn't quite as romantic as I'd imagined. But humanity needs the Alliance if we want to keep expanding through the Traverse, and the Alliance always needs good doctors. So I stayed on to do my part.
Ever think you made the wrong choice?
Sometimes I think about opening a private practice back on Earth, or maybe taking a position at one of the new med centers out in the colonies. But there's something special about working on soldiers. If I left the Alliance now, I'd feel like I was abandoning them.
And this is why I like Dr. Chakwas so much. I mean, as a ship doctor on a military ship, that's exactly the kind of attitude you want your doctor to take. So yeah, I feel a lot safer now with her.
What do you know about Captain Anderson?
I've served with him for a few tours now. He knows when to let things slide and when to crack the whip. The crew knows he's seen pretty much anything they'll ever run into. And he cares about the people under his command.
How well do you know the lieutenant?
I'd never worked with him before this mission. But he has an impressive service record, over a dozen special commendations. Tends to keep to himself, though. Maybe because of the headaches. It's not easy being an L2.
What does that have to do with it?
Well, most biotics now use the L3 implants. Lieutenant Alenko was wired with the old L2 configuration. Sometimes there are complications.
What kind of complications?
Severe mental disabilities, insanity, crippling physical pain. There's a long list of horrific side effects. Caden's lucky. He just gets migraines.
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
Yeah, and you get some codex for chatting with her, which is nice. Now, if you watched my playthrough with Anya, you know I drove myself half crazy with this locker, because it took me quite a while to figure out what the hell it was doing there, and it's actually not difficult. This is the Eden Prime unlock. Yay! I get a red assault rifle. Pardon me. Now the only red gun I need still is a red shotgun. Sweet.
Glad to see you're okay, Commander.
And here's the one tiny little downside to playing as male Shep is that you don't get a proper conversation with Caden here, and therefore you don't get a chance to earn Renegade or Paragon points. Kind of a small disappointment there, but anyway. The captain's quarters. One thing you don't get to see very much in this game is the animations that occur when someone is sitting. Looks like we're in the middle of some sort of vid call that he's in, although he's not chatting much. He's probably telling this guy, just ignore this weirdo over here.
Go speak to Joker when you're ready. Tell him to bring the Normandy into dock.
And that's all we get out of him. So I don't think we saw this already. So yeah, where we've just been, we woke up right here in medical, and we're gonna see the sleeping pods a little bit later. We were just in the office there. We just saw Caden, we just saw Ashley. Of course, for some reason, Anderson isn't showing on the map, so not sure what that's all about. And the Mass Effect Improved Textures mod has a really long loading screen down here. Yeah, my frame rate goes straight to hell. And that's probably why the elevator was made a lot slower for the console. Is that for some reason this part down here is very detailed or something? Although if you look at the map, it's not all that exciting. This is called the vehicle bay here, although Captain Anderson referred to it as the cargo bay when he was talking to Nihilus there earlier. Anyway. And yes, well, there's 6 lockers here, only 2 of which we can access right now, which means we got 4 squad mates coming. And I hope you like the sight of this thing, because we're going to do a lot of traveling and driving with this. Can't do it right now, but also, it's kind of interesting. Something worth doing if you have the console, you're playing on PC and you have the console. One of the things you can't do is come down here just before you arrive on Eden Prime, but if you have the console you can walk through the locked door, and then that'll allow you to come down here. And what you'll see down here is people actually working on the Mako. It's like a guy working on a console right there, and another guy who's kind of like perched into the back, looking like he's tightening up bolts or something. It's very unique. It's almost like, why was that in the game but never allowed to be seen? I don't know. Anyway, we do want to talk with this guy as well, because there's a couple things I need to buy here.
Hey, Commander. Looking for some extra supplies before you head out?
Also, chatting with him, asking him questions gets you some codex.
What have you got?
Whatever you want. Armor, weapons, mods. It's not standard Alliance issue, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Well, as long as you don't mind paying for it.
He's being a little smug there, but the truth is he also doesn't have all of the stuff he just listed. He does have weapons, he does have armor, and you also have Omni tools and bioamps later, but he doesn't have mods, and that's really kind of annoying.
Why should I pay you for my weapons and armor?
My stuff doesn't come from the Alliance. I have to purchase it myself, and it's not cheap. Hell, the licenses alone have set me back more than I'd like. But no licenses, no goods. Without the goods, I'm out of a job.
What are licenses? Why do you need them?
Manufacturers sell licenses. Each license allows me to buy and sell a certain brand of products. I already have several basic ones, but you'll need to buy more if you want me to bring in different brands. Many of the best licenses are hard to get, but they're well worth the cost if you can find them.
Hard to get doesn't, it's kind of weird. I mean, the way the licenses work is that you have to, there's 3 different levels where they unlock basically, so hard to get just means it takes a while for you to get to them probably.
What do the different manufacturers offer?
There are too many for me to keep track of, but each license will explain what it's good for.
How often will you get new items?
Well, that depends on how many licenses you've purchased, but I'll rotate items on a regular basis regardless. And anytime we land someplace with a big enough port, I'll buy, sell, and trade whatever I can. Check back often. I need to move items quickly, so only the most basic items will be stocked consistently.
So yeah, the way the stores work is if you want to restock, if you want to reshuffle, either you level up or you find a license to buy, or you arrive at one of the major story mission ports. That's really what causes them to shuffle. Other than that, you're kind of stuck with whatever you see in there.
Let's see what you've got.
You bet, Commander.
At the start of the game, he has 1 or 2 licenses. For me, he has 2 because I happen to have the Rich achievement, which gives him the Spectre Master Gear license, which is really handy. I would love to have this pistol right now, but it's a little expensive. The remaining items here are all Han Kadar. That's one of the human manufacturers. And you would think from all these red cases that we'd be excited, but no, these are actually the initial guns we get, except they're level 3. We get level 1 versions, but they're all gray. Things I want to buy here are the things I can afford. Metal Gel 1 and Grenade 1. That allows me to... And I get Codex for that. Now I can carry 6 grenades and 6 Metagel. So, and I think the level 1 upgrades are only available here. So if you want to buy level 2 upgrades, which are available in the Citadel, you kind of want to make sure you've got the level 1s in place already. Alright, so I am going to be managing my XP very tightly. I want to make sure I get on the Citadel before I reach level 5, so I can't get to 1,000 yet, so I'm going to leave some codex behind here, like that right there, and you can also examine the ship. I mean, this drive core is pretty nice looking.
Shame about Jenkins, Commander.
It's also nice that a couple of your squad mates are going to comment on the loss of Jenkins, which I think is a nice touch. Can't get over this hair. That is so cool. Yep, I'm leaving some codex behind. We'll pick it up later.
I'm glad you're okay, Commander. Losing Jenkins was hard enough on the crew.
Yeah, I like that. I like that that I'm not the only one who's saddened by this. Alright. So, we're gonna look out the window and see we're still in space, but let's tell Joker to get us where we need to go.
Good timing, Commander. I was just about to bring us into the Citadel. See that taxpayer money at work.
Of that ship.
The Ascension, flagship of the Citadel fleet.
Well, size isn't everything.
Why so touchy, Joker?
I'm just saying you need firepower, too.
Look at that monster. Its main gun could rip through the barriers in any ship in the Alliance fleet.
Good thing it's on our side, then.
Citadel Control, this is SSV Normandy, requesting permission to land.
Stand by for clearance, Normandy. Clearance granted. You may begin your approach. Transferring you to an Alliance operator.
Roger, Alliance Tower. Normandy out.
Normandy, this is Alliance Tower. Please proceed to Dock 422.
This is an outrage! The Council would step in if the Geth attacked a Turian colony?
The Turians don't found colonies on the borders of the Terminus systems, Ambassador.
Humanity was well aware of the risks when you went into the Traverse.
What about Saren? You can't just ignore a rogue Spectre. I demand action!
You don't get to make demands of the Council, Ambassador.
Citadel Security is investigating your charges against Saren. We will discuss the CSEC findings at the hearing, not before.
Captain Anderson. I see you brought half your crew with you.
Just the ground team from Eden Prime, in case you had any questions.
I have the mission reports. I assume they're accurate?
They are. Sounds like you convinced the Council to give us an audience.
They were not happy about it. Saren's their top agent. They don't like him being accused of treason.
I'm not gonna sit on my ass just because the Council doesn't want to do anything. If they won't stop Saren, I will.
Settle down, Commander. You've already done more than enough to jeopardize your candidacy for the Spectres. The mission on Eden Prime was a chance to prove you could get the job done. Instead, Nihilus ended up dead and the beacon was destroyed.
That's Saren's fault, not his.
Then we better hope the CSEC investigation turns up evidence to support our accusations. Otherwise, the Council might use this as an excuse to keep you out of the Spectres. Come with me, Captain. I want to go over a few things before the hearing. Shepard, you and the others can meet us at the Citadel Tower, top level. I'll make sure you have clearance to get in.
And that's why I hate politicians.
Alright, we are here on the Citadel. I have to tell you, I've played this game, I can't count how many times I have seen this arrival scene on the Citadel, and it gives me goose pimples every single time. It is so magnificent. The majesty, the size of this place, and the fact that you can go running around just about anywhere, exploring at your own pace. And right now, I mean, we've just been told to go to the Citadel Tower. But there's no clock on the wall, right? We can do whatever we want. And in fact, that's exactly what we're going to do for a little bit here. So yeah, I wanted to get here before we got to level 4. So we're within like 2 codex entries of level 5. And that's going to come in real handy. Because one of the things that I have not gotten... I mean, I've got 2 biggies that I wanted real bad. And that was this heatsink and this armor-piercing round. I want some anti-personnel rounds. And I wouldn't mind some hammerhead rounds. So there is a store here that sells mods, and I'm going to be hitting him up, hoping that I'll be able to buy something. Some low-level material, I could probably buy 1 level 2 item at this point with the amount of money I have. So let's go see. I mean, actually a second heatsink would be super nice too. So anyway, we're going to embark on the Citadel run, starting with the next episode. Because like I said, we are going to be here a while. I expect to be at level 13 before we finally depart. So we got plenty of work to do here. Alright, so we'll pick up the story from right here next time.